Hey everyone, the name is Kris Barocsi. Welcome to Comment Time. This is the second part of my Comment Time video I uploaded a couple of days ago. There are quite a few interesting questions left to answer, so let's get right into it. Don't forget to subscribe, check out the video description box. You will find all the original videos in there where I take these comments from. So if you want to check out because you missed it or anything, you will find all the good stuff in the description box. Let's do this. Jerry Deli wrote this under my Mesa Boogie History and Tone Secrets Mark series video. Hi Kris, I own the exact same Blue Stripe amp. I was never able to get a good crunch tone with my Mark III, but you seem to have nailed it. What speaker sim are you using in the UA aux box for the riff at the start of the video? Jerry was not the only one who asked for my clean and rhythm crunch settings. Marion M and some others did as well, so I thought this has to be in a comment time video. Well, here are the settings. These were my clean settings in the video. Please check which knobs are pulled or pushed, and also important to state that my graphic EQ was disabled. So on the crunch channel and the clean channel, the EQ was off. And these are my crunch settings. You can tell how different the settings are here compared to my lead channel settings. That's why it's so hard to make all three sounds work at the same time. But that's the same thing with the Mark II as well, and still they're so hyped. So it's something you have to learn to work around. I have no idea how to pronounce your name, I'm sorry. Joao Marcelo? Maybe. Sorry. Kris, since you like to change the finish of your guitars, did you notice a tone difference when changed from poly to nitro? Great work. Thanks a lot. This came under my last comment time video, comment time 5. I did notice a tonal difference, definitely, on all of those guitars I refinished, but I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the type of finish. You know, polyurethane, nitrocellulose. I'm not sure if that's the case. I'd like to believe that guitars with nitro finishes sound different, but I don't have any proof. What definitely made a huge difference was the fact that the original finishes, these polyurethane finishes on all of these guitars, were ridiculously thick, which is always the case on stock guitars, like mass-produced guitars. Even on American guitars, as soon as you go custom shop and someone actually wants these details to be right, you can expect a thin factory finish. I remember my Strat, which was in stock shape, year 2000 American Standard, you know, a perfectly normal, you know, mass-produced guitar, and it had a really thick poly coat on it. And I remember its sound. I used 2 necks on it with the original finish, at least 4 sets of pickups, and I always heard that sound, that sort of mellow top end, kind of spongy sound. And then I removed the finish, finished it, thin nitro, blah, 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 and the guitar opened up. It had different harmonics, just an overall different characteristic. I'm not saying every guitar will sound different if you refinish them, because I have no proof. You know, I didn't test it on 100 guitars or something, but all of those guitars I refinished, and I knew in their original state as well, changed. Are We Guilty commented under my relicing my shopping over Sunburst SQUIER video. Nice series, sir. I'm doing this kind of project on 2 SQUIER SEs. I'm wondering, how do you get to scratch only the red and the black and make the yellow appear? In my case, even if I'm using 2000 grit paper, all layers are removed together and the wood appear underneath. Another question, what grit do you use to smoothen the transition between wood and nitro? After scratching the edge of the paint, what grit in sequence do you use to buff it up? I can manage to get rid of scratch marks even with 2000. 2000 grit is pretty rough at this point. I would not go that crazy. Even though it sounds funny because 2000 grit is pretty smooth normally, but not if you're sanding off like 1 layer or 2 layers of finish on an instrument, especially if you finish thin. So I'm using these mash pads or sanding pads like this size, and these go from 1500 to like 12,000, which is pretty smooth. In order to be safe, I would use something like 3,800, something like that, wet, and have some patience, because that way you can control how much you're buffing away or sanding away, and you will only go through these layers, these different colors of a sunburst, one at a time. And the second question, what grit do I use to smoothen the transition between wood and nitro? I'm not really smoothing the edges after I relicked a part on the body unless it's necessary. Like if I have to use sanding paper like under the armrest for those parts, and then that area looks pretty scratchy, I will of course have to. And then I use these mash pads I was talking about. I would probably start with 2,500, maybe 3,200, something like this. Of course, wet again, and I am very much aware of the pressure I sand with. This comment came under my tele video from Project 2501, and he said, and a couple of more you-knows. I so had to laugh out loud when I read this, because this thing is not something you realize while you're speaking. My brain is working. It's not my native language. I need sometimes some time to find the correct expression to express myself. And it's just something you get used to. I know it's terrible. I hate it. And it just happens. So I am very well aware of it again now. So I will pay attention to it a lot. And I know it's really annoying. And don't worry, I'm working on it. Edward Bartley commented under my Telecaster video. I used my American Tele as my main guitar last year. It did make me a better player for sure. My only problem with it was sometimes I had a hard time making it dirty. I had to have the right combo of pedals to get a dirty tone. I do have a question. Mine has the vintage-like barrels in the bridge, but they are chrome and are probably steel. How would changing them to brass affect the tone? Getting the right drive sound with any guitars, in fact, is a very personal thing. It's about your taste. So if you're used to humbucker guitars, especially distorted, a single-coil guitar can sound weird first. It's not a familiar sound. And your question about the barrel saddles, the old school Tele saddles, steel will sound way different than brass. Brass saddles will give you way more mid-range, less top end, and overall just a warmer sound compared to steel. That is exactly why I stick to the original barrels, the brass barrel saddles on my Tele. Male Villa asked under my Telecaster video. New review, so I subscribed. I have a Telecaster 2018 Player Series. I took out the factory pickups and put in Fender Noiseless Generation 4 pickups. I really do not hear too much difference in sound, but there's no more 60 cycle hum. I saw on Dylan Talk's Tone that the noiseless pickups are actually humbuckers, and there's no such thing as a single noiseless pickup, like single coil noiseless pickup. What do you think? Dylan knows what he's talking about. He's a pro, he knows way more about pickups and electronics than I do. I have to be honest with you, I barely ever had issues playing single coil guitars, Strats and Teles, very loud on loud stages with a classic rock or modern rock band. Using a lot of gain as well, too, not only clean. I had one gig which was miserable. We just had the loudest hum noise ever, but that didn't really have to do something with me playing single coils, it was just that bad. Otherwise, I never had issues with perfectly normal old school single coil pickups. I think the key to being able to live with a single coil, a proper single coil guitar on loud stages at crazy volumes is that you have to get used to rolling your volume down immediately when you're not playing. That's something I got used to way before I started playing single coil guitars. I used to play in metal bands using tons of gain, using humbuckers obviously, and all the modern whatever seven string guitars and such. And we just had feedback issues because of all of that gain and volume and everything. So I got used to this. As soon as I am not playing, I have my volume knob on the guitar, bam, off. And that helped me a lot, I guess, because then I swapped to Strats. I bought my Strat and I fell in love with that. That came first before I even figured out that I love Teles. And I was doing this already. So volume off immediately after, stopping a chord. And I never, probably because of that, I never faced that issue of having hum noises and such. When you don't play, turn the volume off. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching. I have to go now and edit out a couple of hundred you-knows out of my other videos. See you very soon. Give me a thumbs up if you like this one, and take care. Bye bye.